Joining us now is Free Press reporter Madeleine Rowley. Madeleine, I've been around Washington long enough to realize that the numbers get really big and they get confusing, and you can't ever believe any of them. But I just want to make sure that we're clear about this. $42 billion to get 25 million people hooked up, and 0 are connected.
That is unfortunately correct, and it's largely due to what you've been talking about this entire segment so far. It's government micromanagement and incompetence. We have 25 million Americans in rural areas who are waiting on a high-speed, reliable internet. And so far, no one's been connected, and that's because the Biden administration put so many, the states had to jump through so many hoops to get access to this funding, to include complex DEI initiatives that the government was pushing. States had to meet with stakeholders from quote unquote underrepresented communities to include LGBTQ prisoners, even in order to prove that they could push this funding to selected internet service providers who could hopefully soon connect the people in rural areas. And so far, we haven't seen any of it happen.
Wait a minute. Madeleine, they had to meet with prisoners? I read your, I
Yes.
know I'm repeating, I read your piece, but they had to meet with, consult with unions and underrepresented communities like convicted criminals.
Correct.
And that's
Those
the
who
slowdown. So where's the money going to go now? Because they will, the bureaucrats will figure out a way to waste it and spend it on themselves.
Sure. So right now, the money is sort of in a holding pattern, waiting to be dispersed to, internet service providers, many of whom are large conglomerates such as AT&T, Verizon, Comcast, who have been, deemed capable of carrying out this broadband project. So the money is sort of in a holding pattern right now, as the majority of states, besides Louisiana, are still waiting on approval from the government to start construction. And it's estimated that construction could start in 2026, but it's hard to say, as this has been a very, very slow process with just so many roadblocks for states and internet service providers. And I also want to, say that this is not the only, federal broadband program out there. Since 2019, there are 12 different overlapping programs totaling $125 billion, which should be more than enough to connect everyone in the nation with high-speed, reliable internet. And so far, especially this $42.5 billion program, there's not much to show for it.
The really maddening part of all of it is that actually, if you are in favor of all these things and you're a politician and all you care about is getting reelected, actually succeeding at it would actually help your political prospects, as opposed to not succeeding at it and failing at it. Like if you lived out in the country and you suddenly got a good quality high-speed internet and a politician could claim credit for it, you'd be loyal to that politician forever. But they can't even get that straight. They can't even help themselves properly.
Correct. And you would think so. But, many people out in rural areas who I spoke to are taking this into their own hands. And they're choosing a low Earth orbit satellite like Starlink to get internet. And they have told me that it's very reliable and fast.
It is. And it's
also free market.
It is. And I'm speechless that anybody, they should be quizzed on this. Anybody who voted for this, anybody involved in it should be fired. You don't give them a vote. Madeleine Rowley.
Well, that's what we're hoping. I do think President Trump is going to make some changes, so that's what we can hope for.
Yep. Madeleine Rowley, thank you so much. Great to see you.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.